just people, passions, power. Yeah, people.
Man, I'm so excited about our next guest on People, Passion, Power. Four-time Pro Bowler, Washington football team member, Ken Harvey. I appreciate you coming on the show,
My pleasure.
sir. It's a real
pleasure.
treat. I can't wait to dive deep with you here for a few minutes. We can talk football, but people know about the football. I want to talk about you a little bit,
Okay.
and your story. And I watched the TEDx talk, and I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
And you were a high school dropout.
I was. Kids drop out for all sorts of reasons or get kicked out for all sorts of reasons. A lot of times we don't know, but it doesn't mean or diminish who that person is. And sometimes it's that mental battle. For me, I dropped out. I got to a point where I was missing so much school. It was in the pressure. I wasn't ready to handle the pressure. And so it got to a point where I was either going to get straight F's. I was trying to play football. Coaches were going to put me in easy classes, and I knew I wasn't dumb. And it was all these other things. So I was, in my mind, it was like, I'm going to drop out, get my mind right, and decide to go back. That's the perfect picture. It worked out in a way, but in between that time was like, it was a transitioning moment that kind of defined my life.
What were the mental exercises you went through to get there?
So for me, and you tell the story, and it's my story, so this is my truth. During the time of dropping out, and you're walking around and you're the 6'2", you're 200 plus pounds. I was in the gym all the time, so I was pretty big. Everybody's looking at you, but the moment you tell them you dropped out of school, everybody look at you, you're a loser, you're a quitter, you're all that stuff. The pressure is on you. Your family's like, you got to go to, you either get out, go to the military. It wasn't for lack of love. It's like, you can't just sit around here eating food. And you're feeling like, why am I here? What is my value in this world? And you easily go down that rabbit hole of self-doubt, self-unbelief, all that stuff. And that's kind of the way I went. So I got to a point where, I'm on my knees. Well, actually, I got to a point where you feel like I shouldn't be here in this world, and the world would be better off without me. So I tried to kill myself.
What age was that?
I think 17. Yeah,
Okay.
17. And to the point of, you took some pills. If you really wanted to do it, you could do it, I guess. But took some pills, drank the bottle of lighter fluid, just trying to think of ways to let it in. Didn't happen. I'm on my knees praying. I'm like, God, why am I here? There's supposed to be a purpose. Why am I here? And to me, it felt like God said, there's a destiny and a purpose for your life. You just have to believe there's a destiny and purpose for your life. And so once you get that belief in something, once you say there is a reason I'm supposed to be doing something, then comes the hard part. Now it's the part of having to go back and go over things. And so for me, I had to go back to school. You have to humble yourself. I had to go back to school, humble myself, but I had a plan. Go back to school, and my goal was to go to college. Start saying it all the time. I'm gonna go to college, speak it into existence. No one really believed it. You're a high school dropout. Didn't play my senior year of high school football. How is this gonna be possible? But lo and behold, I met a guy in a gym who told me about a junior college outside of California. Never been outside as far as I could walk in my neighborhood, but life lesson. Sometimes you got to get outside of your environment to get into something new, to change the whole atmosphere. And so me and another guy saved up money, and we went to the junior college in Oakland, California, and the rest is history.
So it was that moment right there. That was a defining moment in your life. Someone told me about a month ago, and it stuck with me, and I want to know if it resonates with you. They said the obstacle is the way.
It is. I mean, sometimes it's the obstacle. And I mean, probably that's why sports is so great, because you can see in an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour time, you can see people overcome obstacles. You can see a team that's losing and come back. You can see all this in a moment's frame, but life is a lot longer. And so sometimes the obstacle is just redirecting what you already have and understanding what you have, and then focusing on, whatever their belief is. And so my focus was that I was supposed to be doing something great. And when I trained by myself at night, I would always say to myself, you're supposed to be great. You're supposed to be, you can't stop. You're never going to quit. You're that man. And so you kept doing that. And if you start speaking it to yourself, you speak it into existence. And that was, that was it. I started speaking it to existence, and it kind of went twofold or full circle, that I'm in the pros. And the thing that people knew me for was they were like, oh, you're the guy that never quit. You're the guy that never, always kept going. But that was the very thing that was the downfall. I quit in school. And so, it's funny how you can speak things and change those very downfalls into a strength.
Where do you think we are as a world as it relates to mental health with people right now? Are we in a trend, an upward trend, where there's more conversations like this that are happening? Are we in a better place in the world?
Well, I think we're in a better place, but it's happening more because there's so many things in the world that are telling you, that are shaping you, right? So life is about having a vision, and a vision of who you are, what you are, your worth in life. But the world and society is giving you a vision. You go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, you go on all these places, you go on TV, and everything's telling you, well, you're not pretty enough, or you're not strong enough, or you're not good enough. This is the perfect picture. And you start comparing yourself to that, and you start saying, what is my worth? So I think while we're talking about it a lot more, and a lot more people seeking out help for it, there's also a lot of other ways to draw people down and to have them feel that they're no worth. So you're seeing a lot of kids committing suicide. You're seeing a lot of adults with the pandemic. People are realizing that loneliness is a huge factor. Mm-hmm. You look at older people, and people used to look at them like, they're older. Why are they crying? They're in this home and they're by themselves. Now they're starting to see that loneliness, that emptiness, and you can't die because you're young and you're waiting. You're just waiting. People are getting discouraged, and so even with this nonprofit that I work with, it's good to just reach out every once in a while, just to say hello to somebody, just to say, hey man, just checking up on you, just say I care, just to say I love you. I called my dad on the way over here just to say hello to him. My mom just passed away about 2 months ago, and just to say, hey, I care. It makes a big difference in people's lives, and you don't realize the value of a simple process of picking up the phone. Text messages are okay. Picking up the phone
voice
is
to
a whole
voice.
lot better.
Voice to voice,
yes,
or
sir.
face to face.
Yep.
Man, I just got to tell you, it's pretty cool. I think people have an image when especially a football player has an image, a four-time Pro Bowler has an image, and your ability just to be humble and have this frank conversation, that's pretty cool. So how are you? Give me some techniques. Like, how are you? Do you still have struggles? What's going on?
No doubt. I have a lot of struggles. I mean, the thing is, to me, it always seems like God will put you in a position where He knows the greatness in you, but He's also, there's an enemy. If you believe in God, then you believe that there's an enemy. And so the very thing that you struggle with, the very thing I struggled with, was that insecurity, the self-doubt. When I stopped playing football, it all came flooding back because I ended up being injured, but I quit. I retired, but to me, in my mind, I quit. Mm-hmm. And so now you got that same doubt coming back, and it's coming back tenfold. And then you have other things that start jumping in. Oh, you're not good enough, or you can't make it, or you're whatever. So you fight with it every day. But there are paths to come out of it. There's counselors out there that you can talk to. Sometimes it's just talking to your best friend. I have a buddy that the only thing we talk about, we just joke for 10 minutes. But that joke for 10 minutes is the thing to just say, okay, whew.
You're just laughing.
Yeah, just the world is
just
okay.
Just a relief.
The world is okay.
Yep.
The things that I thought were so bad and so horrible, it's okay. I can deal with it. And so you need that sometimes. And I think with COVID, we're seeing that it's easy to get tricked by technology. And I don't want to put a blame on technology, but it's easy to get tricked by, I text somebody or I did whatever. But sometimes just to have that communication with somebody makes a big difference.
Man, you and I could talk for a couple of hours. I appreciate what you're saying. So can people connect with you, or where can they follow you, or what's going on?
Now I sound like the old guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm on that Instagram-y thing.
Insta? What do they call it?
Yeah.
Insta, yeah.
I'm on Instagram. I think it's Ken Harvey 57 on Instagram. You can usually find me on Facebook. If you want with the Washington football team, I almost said the other word.
Yeah,
the Washington football team. You can hunt me down. But I'm around. I work with this nonprofit called Touching Heart. I got to learn to advertise myself, but it's Touching Heart, and where we're trying to help young people become compassionate leaders. And I find myself, even with that, you have that doubt because you're like, man, who am I to try to teach leadership? But then on the flip side, you're like, this is the very thing that you would put on this earth for, maybe. So embrace it and enjoy it. So with Touching Heart, you can find me there and find out about the nonprofit. I also work with a wealth management company. I got to throw this out there, Fellows Financial Group. And so I'm trying to help the gambit of all my failures and things that I've had struggles with, I'm trying to work it around and say these are the very things that in the jobs that I do that I'm trying to help people with. And then I like writing books.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for
yeah.
a second too. I caught something you just said there, and I want to share this with our viewers. Who am I to be doing this? You just said that a second ago. What I want to convey, the message I want to convey to everybody, I think everybody has self-doubt.
Okay, so I will say this. Everyone has self-doubt. So you can't see it, but I got my only tattoo at 50-some years old, and it's Exodus 4:2. So in the Bible, Moses is on the mountaintop, and God's talking to him, and he says, "What's in your hands?" And Moses is like, the staff. And then God's like, and he goes on, the story goes on, right? But to me, that's everybody. God is looking at you and saying, what's in your hands? We all have abilities and talents and skill sets and different things. We like to compare it to everybody else, but we all have something special in us. And so it's what's in your hands and what can you do with it? And so you called me on that because you also you speak things into existence. Mm-hmm. And so I have to start more even on myself saying, man, I got all these gifts and talents, instead of saying, who am I? I got all these blessings and gifts that I can use to make a big difference. And so that's what I'm excited about, and that's what I'm learning. You're never too old to learn, and you're never too young. We all have something. And even if it's something like, people think it's small so it means nothing, but if you're a mother and you cook a meal every day for your kids, and they come to expect their meal, and around the kitchen table everybody talks and have a conversation, it's the greatest thing, and that may be the very foundation of the next person who's going to be a leader in the world. We all got gifts and talents. Just don't sell yourself short.
And don't stop. Now,
Don't stop.
Besides being a Pro Bowler and a public speaker, and you're an author. How cool
I
is
like
that?
to write. Yeah, it's cool because ultimately I was a quiet guy. Growing up, I was really quiet, shy. In football, I was for the most part, I didn't talk a whole lot. I still have that awkward shyness kind of in ways. But writing, you get to create a world and hopefully create a message. And so my first book was a kid's book I did with my two boys, called Come Find Me. And the actor, Terry Crews, did all the artwork for the book. And then 20 years later, and this is when I got the tattoo, and I went back to my computer and said, what's in my hands? And I was like, I got this book. I called up Terry, like, oh, let's do this. This is great. Another guy who had an augmented reality company called up out of nowhere. I was like, let's put the augmented reality with the book. And so we got an augmented reality kids book. And then from that, I just started writing. And I've been writing novels. I have 2 novels now. A third one's written, but I haven't published it yet. And I have about 6 or 7 kids books. So,
oh, man.
So I'm working on it, yeah.
Man, Ken Harvey, you're an inspiration, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I can't wait to stay in touch with you. And you're doing good things in the world. And it's just been a treat. And I don't want to consume all your time. You got to get out there to the people, and they want to see you. So we got to get you out there.
Well, I appreciate it.
Washington football team, 4-time Pro Bowler Ken Harvey. What a man. What a man. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. My pleasure. Thank you.
Passion.